Okay, hello people. So today we are doing some casting of aluminium. That's a bit of slag. So I've already cast some aluminium, which was all scrap. Some of it was cast. So a little bit of it was extruded aluminium, which isn't very good. And as you can see, this is not fantastic. It's a little dip, but not too much. So this is what I cast earlier to obviously make sure all the crap was gone off of it, like paint, excess oil, all that type of stuff, to make sure it was good to go. This is all the slag and that off the top. That one's not coming out yet. There you go. He wasn't very good. He must have had some slag in him, so we won't use that one. We've got some others down here. As you can see, this is a mould I made up from when I melted it down. Just some bits of angle iron welded together. And it's supposed to fall out easier than that. Should have done it while it was hot. It's obviously caught on a little bit of weld. Whack it now. Okay, we're out. So yeah, as you can see, just some angle iron, flat like that, welded in the corners. Makes ideal mould to make your ingots. Mainly if you've do your casting and got some left over, you pour it in there so you can use again. So that's all our ingots we're going to use. So what I'm after is I want to make 2 aluminium ones of these. I'm just going to show you one, which we're then going to put on the lathe, run it down, put some fancy patterns in it, and it's going to be a crash bar for Harley Davidson Sportster motorcycle. So if I was to just cast this in the bottom of this box, this is MDF. What I did was made a whole box, wrong way around. I made a whole box of out of MDF. Then I put it through the saw and cut it in half, so I ended up with 2 pieces. Now I've got these bits of wood on the side, so that when you're putting it back together, it helps to guide it in. And then I just put these 2 screws in here and here, which help lock it in together. So, and then as you can see, I've got some screws on the inside. Now I tried this once with just the wood. What happens is you pack all your sand in, you lift it off, and the whole lot falls out. So I've got some screws in there which help grip the sand, so I end up with 1/2. Now, so as I was saying, yeah, so if I put this piece of metal straight in there, all the sand's going to go around the bottom, round here, get caught in. I ain't going to get the bar out. I'm going to be left with a nasty hole. So I had a piece of just scrap plywood, any type of wood, maybe even cardboard, thick cardboard, I don't know. And I've cut that so it's the size of the pipe to go through. Now what I've done is I've tried to make this wood so it's halfway across the metal. So now I've got another piece which makes up that, so I end up hopefully roughly half of the metal. So put that down there. So now I can drop my bar in. Now I've got a bit of a groove down the side here. Don't know if you can see that, probably too high. Move it down a bit. Bit of a groove down there, so that's probably going to cause me problems with sand going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick a piece of tape right up against that edge to hopefully stop the sand falling through too much and messing me mould up. So then I sit this one, let's make sure we get this right way around, we'll look a right idiot. On top of our mould. Okay, so we've got that. We've then got some talc, ordinary talcum powder, which we're going to sprinkle on the top, literally just a light covering, because it helps the sand to, or helps the bar release from the mould that we're making. So now we've got our sand. Now our sand is, it's children's play sand. They call it green sand, I think. It's children's play sand. Right, looks all crumbly, but if I squeeze this together, it holds its shape, as you can see. You can break it apart. Now what this is, mixed with it, is Bitterton clay, or Bitterton clay. Basically it's cat litter, but get the one that says Bitterton clay. Crush it all up so it's a powder. Mix it with your sand, adding a little bit of water content, so that you've got nice firm like that. And then that'll help you to make moulds without it, you know, falling out. So we're going to put a bit of talc on. I should have a brush for this as well, and I haven't got one. So we'll use a bit of rag just to make sure it's smoothed out. Or you could do it like this. So this is a rag, just a holy rag, look, one of that type, with a load of talcum powder in. So you can just tap it down like that and you end up with a nice coating. So then we get our sand in our ordinary kitchen sieve and we put it through here so that we end up with a smoothest coating on the top we can get. On top of our bar before we start ramming it in. Right, let's just find something to scrape that off. There you go, perfect. A bit of leftover MDF. Bloody hell. Now I'm no expert, as you can see. It's basically what I've learnt from other people's videos and had a go myself. Found it worked out, not too dangerous. Well, can be in the wrong hands obviously, I suppose. So now we turn this over. Take out the bits, those thin bits of wood now, we don't need those. So now this piece of wood hopefully will lift off. Should not have lifted our bar out as well, so that's got to stay back in there. Not great, not bad. So now we put more powder on so that our two halves of sand release. Now we turn this over, getting it the right way around. Now it's a bit bulged out a little bit because of the sand's packed in, so perhaps I shouldn't have used, oh no, that's okay. Yeah, we've got a slight crack in there, look, that's because I'm not using a dead flat surface. So we get our screwdriver, tighten up our screws. Now you could, if you wanted to make this bar, you could literally just find a piece of metal, make sure it's nice and polished on the inside, then pour the aluminium down through the metal, but make sure the metal's hot before you pour it in, otherwise you might end up with a big air bubble in there. It's quite dangerous, so I'm doing it this way. So now same process again, sand on the top, although I'm impatient, so I just chuck it on. Oh, you know what I've forgotten? I've forgotten the riser for pouring the metal in and the air vent. Fiddlesticks. So this is two I made earlier. Wide copper pipe, small copper pipe. Now this has got to go just on the surface of the other sand, the first layer, and pack it around it. Now luckily I can still see the base, and then pack this sand around these. Just got an old bit of wood just to make this tighter around this pipe, especially the one where we're going to pour in. So now we've got to move all this crap over here. We've got to undo these screws again. Now this is the bit where it all goes bloody wrong. As you lift it off, especially with me, I ain't got a hard surface, and all my sand's going to fall out. So fingers crossed it doesn't, fingers crossed it's undone enough. So now we separate the two pieces gently, lay that on its side, gently twist copper pipes, blow through the hole, now, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I'll just put the hammer there to hold it upright. No, it's not going to work, is it? I need something to hold it upright. Try a screwdriver, that's better. So now we've got a mark, don't know if you can see that, we've got a mark where those pipes were, and we've got a bit of sand that's broke away, but I'm not going to worry about that piece. leave that bit alone, because when the mould goes back together, that'll fill that back in, hopefully. So now we've got to get this bar out. And the best way for that is to get a magnet, put it on the bar, gently twist it and lift it out. So now we're left with a hollow bit. So now we need a spoon for this. I haven't got a spoon, I'll just check. No, typical, come unprepared. Well, we need to join this with our hollow piece to where our bar's going, and here, so that the aluminium will come down this hole, down in there, up through, fill up our hole, and then come out of here. Now what I'm going to do is this top hole, I'm just going to scrape it like that, but I'm also going to take a little bit out of this one, so that when it rises up, and then smooth them off, pack any sand that needs packing. I think that would be enough. I'm sure it will be. Then we'll do the same on the other one. This is why you need a spoon. I didn't want that bit to go, so slide that bit. No, let's not worry about it. Get any loose out. Spitting all over it. Right, now I think we can put it back together. Gently. Oh, oh God, there's the nerve-wracking bit. Yeah, I can see a hole down there, see a hole in there. Now get our screwdriver, put that back together. So I'm going to put this on the ground, so I'll get me bit of wood and put it on the ground. Move me main stand out the way. Another couple of bits of wood. Now I'm going to gently pick my mould up and put it on the floor, but I need to just make sure there ain't no bloody loose bits. Right, I'm going to have to chance that. Now pick the whole thing up and put it on the floor. Okay. So now, save all this sand, because we need this for the second one, because we're making two. Well, I am. You're probably not. Oh God, how come these lids just go on easy, but when you want them off, that's it, that made it. Okay. So now it's a case of mounting all these ingot aluminium pieces down again. I think we'll have, let's have 4 just in case. I think quite enough aluminium, so I'd rather too much, because as I said before, if there's too much we can pour it into these and just make another ingot. Now then, so how are we going to melt it, you ask? So this is a gas bottle, and I've cut the top off, put a couple of bits of metal back here, bolt, as you can see, and I've used the top as a handle, hole in the top. That's my lid. Now I bought this fireproof cement off of Amazon. Can't remember exactly how much it was, and my crucible is just a chunk of steel which is still warm from when I melted it. Yep, fucking hell. Yeah, it is. And then my gas torch. Not going to show you how to make these. If you look on the internet, you'll find loads of ideas how to make these, but you got to have a high flow propane regulator. Now it doesn't quite go in my hole I made, because obviously I made this for another design as well. So what I do is I literally sit it like that, and the gas comes through, sucks air, goes through, and the force of the gas going through is sucking air in those vents at the back you saw, going up through there and going in. Now you'll say, oh, it's going to escape out there. Well, actually, once it's lit, the help of the draw, it actually draws more air in, so it makes it good. And then I just literally turn it on and off by that. So let's try and pack our aluminium pieces in. I think we're only going to get 3 in there, but we'll put the other one in as it's melting. Where's this word melting come from? It's not melting. Melting. Or whatever, you know. So we'll slide that one in a minute. So now this is how we light it. So we put our lid back on. Now as you can see, I can slide my hand down inside. You wouldn't do when it's on hot. You wouldn't do this. So my crucible that I made has got 4 bolts on the bottom. Oh, let me show you. It's bloody hot though. Yeah, it's too hot. Hang on. So I made this to pick it up. I've got a bit of wire which hooks onto one of the little bolt legs on it, and this is bit off an old fence line. I just bent these up, welded some bolts to the side of there. Now I slide this down in and pick it up, see. Now as you can see, I welded some bolts on the bottom. That's where the torch has been hitting, look. So I just changed its position each time. Oh, balls. Oh no, it's not quite that hot. Oh, frickin' hell, maybe it is. So then hopefully that lines up. Then it lines up like that anyway. So now it's time to light it. Now I won't show you all this mountain because it does take a little while. I don't know, 15 minutes say. Now yeah, I should put a piece of metal on there so that it makes it so it doesn't fall off, but touch wood, it hasn't all morning. So now how I light it, instead of lighting it down there, I turn the gas on, let it fill up there, and I just spark that in there and it goes boom. So let's do that. Like that. Stand out of the way. Probably safer to light it down there. There's the flame shot back through. Now I've got some ordinary Tesco's table salt here. I'm going to be using this as a bit of a flux. So as it melts, you can pour it into some tin foil, crunch the tin foil up, drop that in, push it to the bottom, stir it around a bit, helps degas it and make it flow a bit better. So we'll try that in a minute, but I haven't got the foil on me, so I just pour it in. So shouldn't really do that, I don't think. I think you're supposed to put it in properly. So we'll just wait for that to melt. As you can see, there's my flame and it's roaring. So once that starts to melt, I'll then get my other one and I'll just sit that on the top, and then that'll mount down through with it as well. Once you've got some molten aluminium in the bottom, you'll be surprised how quick it goes. It goes ever so quick once you've got some molten aluminium in the bottom. So mold's ready, and then we'll pick it up, we'll come around here and we'll pour it into here, and should rise out of there as well. I should have had that a bit straighter. Never mind, too late now. But we'll see what this one comes out like. And fingers crossed it doesn't explode back on me or anything. So I'll see you in a minute when it's mounted. So it's been about 10 minutes, probably not even that, 8 minutes, and it started to mount. This is what I like, pushing it in. Once you get that molten in the bottom, the rest of it goes pretty quick. Oh, don't get your ash in there. Starting to get there. I've still got some hard bits in there, so we'll give it another couple of minutes. Now I need this to be machinable, so i.e. I'm going to put it in a lathe. I need to turn it down and stuff. So aluminium, especially extruded aluminium or tin cans, all that stuff. This was cast aluminium, which I'm reusing, so probably doesn't need it so much, but I need it to be more machinable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some bits of old brass, and hopefully that'll mix in, make it more machinable. But I also need to add me salt as me flux. So kill two birds with one stone, add me salt to the brass. Probably way more than I need. Make sure my aluminium's mounting. Yeah, it's getting pretty darn good now. Don't put that on the plastic. Then I need to carefully drop my aluminium in there. Sorry, drop my brass in there. So I'm going to set it on here and gently lower it. Whoa, that's bubbling. I don't know if you can see that. That is bubbling, baby. Whoa, definitely more slowly. Two bits of brass. Really bubbling now. So it's degassing. I think that's what you'll find the salt does as well. That's the crack. You don't want that. Still bubbling a bit, we'll let it carry on bubbling. Then comes a bit I don't like. And pouring it in, here we go. So I've got some old wearing gloves. Put them on. Get rid of the fag in a minute. Looks pretty good. And we'll grab our lifting bit. I'll put a wire hook underneath. But we're also going to, don't forget your safety, and I'm not one for safety, as you've probably seen from the other videos. I found this old mask. Can't really see through it, but if it splashes it'll save me eyes. So we're going to turn the gas off. Open her up. Put our tongs on. Well, as you could tell, I could not see out of this thing. Sometimes you get that. And it's also spilt over in the muffin pot as well. But we'll be able to reuse it. So fingers crossed, that's one done. The extruded stuff. The extruded stuff is things like this, old aluminium frames from chairs, stuff like that. Heat sinks. Oh, it's quite a lot that's actually extruded. Well, this is not very good for machining at all. Absolutely rubbish, really. I think you normally add copper at 10% of copper to it once it's molten. And then that makes it like a, well, not an aluminium bronze because it's a lot more copper for that, but anyway, it makes it more machinable. But fingers crossed this is. So we'll let that harden off a little bit, then we need to get it out. Now that sand's going to be hot, and I'm going to tip it into that plastic tub, so let's see if that melts. Yeah, should have a tin one, whatever. Unless you wait for it to cool down enough and you'll be able to do it. But this sand won't be able to reuse it again now, because I'll have to process it first. So what I have to do is obviously make sure the aluminium's out of it, break it all up and rework it back into a powder, add some water and try and get that nice consistency we had earlier to be able to reuse again. So it's all reusable. Let's take our screws out, because that's pretty hard going on. Look at that. You don't want to get that on your feet. Let's see if we've done anything. Here we go. Hopefully it's cooled down enough. Oh wow, look at that. Few little air bubbles. But I've got to machine it off anyway. So won't be too bad, I don't think. But that's what it ends up looking like. So let's knock that out. So there we go, folks. There's one bar. Like I say, there's a few little tiny weeny ditty pits. That's obviously where the loose sand was, I reckon. So make sure you blow that out next time. Then we just got to cut this off. I can't remember what they're called. Look at that. Cut that one off. And then once that's cooled down, we should be able to machine that then. with a bit of luck. So yeah, we'll put it in the lathe once it's cooled down, probably another day, and we'll see what it's like. And if it's no good, mount it down, make another one. That is the beauty with it. We have mould number 2 ready now. So what's happened is the aluminium is sunken, which is what it's supposed to do, and that's hence why you look, the bar down this level and you have this higher than the bar, so it allows for shrinkage because it shrinks down into the bar. So this is what's happened. Look, it's sunk down, and that's your riser. Bits of metal like this, which was an old bandsaw I had laying around, which was a load of rubbish. Didn't put that bit in because it's got a screw in there I need to knock out. But this is what it was. So I literally chucked it in there, paint and everything, ended up with that slag. So there we go. But we now have 2 either side the bike. Instead of sawing them off, if you're careful, you can just tap them off.